If you're sitting on your ass watching telly right now, you know that exercise is for dumb losers. But Puma is trying to change your mind.
I was gonna sleep in late, but then I got high. I was gonna let that heal, but then I got high. Lord, I just wanted to walk the dog. I'm not gonna lie. Why, man? Yeah, but then I got high. Baby, but then I got high. Yeah, but then I got high. Because I got high. Baby, because I got high. Yeah, because I got high.
That is not what that song is about. That's the song that plays in my head when Russell talks. The longer version of that ad features details like this high clock and even more worrying stories.
I was gonna put this guy to sleep, but then I got high.
That's not her baby. Puma rewrote the Afroman song Because I Got High, and I think the original lyrics work better.
I lost my kids in white because I got high.
Russell, why run with this track?
This is how easy advertising is, Will. Seriously, you just clip some things together and you have a great soundtrack, and you're more than halfway there. Yeah. The problem with this commercial, yeah, it's catchy and we love it because we all know the song, and we are rewarded. We're rewarded because we go, oh yes, that's the runner's high. Therefore, I get something out of the ad because I reward myself as a result of knowing it. The problem is that they tell me at the end of the commercial, and it drives me utterly mad. There's an end frame, for the runner's high. It should not be there. Have I ever told you about transactional analysis, Will?
And then I got high, then I got high, then I got high.
Bear with me.
I was gonna host a show, and then I got high. I don't know where else to go, and then I got high.
Transactional analysis.
Oh, you're still talking?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. So imagine the government talking. So the government can talk as a parent, as an adult, as a child, in a tone of voice sense, right? So what you're doing is when you're watching that, and they'll often do it, governments will do that. If you drink and drive, you're a bloody idiot. That is the parent talking to you as the consumer, as a child. And
can I just say, good job, you're doing great. Keep going.
OK, right, thank you. We're watching something that we're all enjoying. It's a song that we all enjoy, so it's an adult-to-adult conversation. The adult being Puma, being accepted by the consumer in an adult fashion. All of a sudden, on the end frame they have for the runner's high, all of a sudden, they're being the parent talking to you like the child. And as a result, what could have been a perfectly pleasant commercial, these commercials always work, yeah, Nike, because can you kick it? Yes, you can. 1990. It's exactly the same commercial. These commercials work. It's just so disappointing. With the high, the digitised high, that should be the end frame. That's all you need to do. It just disappoints me, Will, because it's there. They can just cut and paste this. They can run around the country, but they've treated us as if we're children and they're the parent.
So Puma is trying to reposition. So they know that participation in running's gone up since COVID, but it's not about medals or standing on a podium. It's more about enjoying yourself, feeling free, getting out there, community. So they're trying to say, okay, so Nike is about whatever, winning, and Under Armour is about suffering, and they're not about just do it, they're about just enjoy it. So they're trying to reposition. And to do that, they need to cut through and do something different. So they've chosen this song, and it's less of a licensing agreement and more of cultural hijacking. So they've chosen a song that already had meaning, lots of meaning. They slightly tweaked the lyrics, and then they just run with it. And when I first heard it, I thought, why would a global brand take that risk? Because marijuana is still illegal in 50 countries, and they're a big global brand. Why would they take that risk? Then I remembered that Adolf and Rudolph, the founders of Puma, were both associated.
I did not know where that was going. I was like, am I high? Yeah. It's like some of my fan fiction. So it's Christmas in Austria.
It gets worse. So Adolf and Rudolph were associated with the Nazi Party in the 1930s. And then I thought, well, if they can survive the damage of Nazism to their brand, they can certainly survive a bit of weed. So this was a low risk for them.
I think that it gives them, they've got to play in a space. When you think that Nike and Adidas take up nearly half the market, then the next tier down is Puma, which is sort of sitting at 4 or 5% market share, and there's a group of them that sit there. So we've got a really different market to work with here, where there's domination and then there's guys that need to find uniqueness. And I think that with the rise of athleisure wear, Puma found a space they could play in, which is the everyday athlete as opposed to the elite athlete. And Nike and Adidas own that space, so you can't really get in there. But they are able to be more culturally relevant and tap into pop culture more because they are the smaller guys. They're happy to play in that second tier, and that does mean that they have permission to use this song. They're not scared off by drugs and sport or anything like that, but it also means that their celebrity strategy is more interesting. So they are more likely to collaborate with musicians or entertainers or people in fashion. That's not cheap, but it's much more affordable than the $1.5 billion that Nike's paying LeBron James or Adidas is paying Messi. But it's a very lucrative market and it's very hard to find uniqueness, and I think Puma's new direction is giving them that. And with that, they need to be extremely consistent for years and years so they can own something in what is a really lucrative, crowded space.
I think that it actually reflects what's happening on social channels. So TikTok has kind of over the last few years given the earworm a bit of a renaissance. These trending sounds, old songs from 20, 30 years ago, they're getting a second life. A lot of that younger generation has never heard these tracks before and they're hearing it for the first time on TikTok. I think it's really smart for this brand to go all in on that behaviour of this next generation and put it in their above the line, big spend, broadcast, global campaign. The power of music, the power of an earworm, own that moment. Drugs are always going to sell to youth culture, so I think it's a real big tick.
Yeah, and not just the youth culture.